I'm Linda Nelson. I'm the former county director here in Dallas County for Iowa State University Extension. And after I retired in 2006, I continued with the Growing Food and Profit program as a volunteer coordinator, and that's what I'm doing today.
So what is Growing Food for Profit and what is its purpose?
Growing Food and Profit is just a group of growers and eaters that come together to share information and to share ideas on growing and consuming locally grown food. It was started as a project of the Iowa Network for Community Agriculture, INCA, back in probably the early 2000s, maybe even before that. And the way I became familiar with it was Carol Smith, who was the former county director in Guthrie County, was a board member for INCA. And Carol is really great about developing new programs, and they felt that there was a need for this, to have these groups around the state of Iowa to help support each other, because you have to realize back in those early 2000s there wasn't a lot of growers. They were just starting to become a larger number of them in the state, and they were kind of out there on their own. Not a whole lot of support or ways to share information. Even the internet was still just coming to be a really big thing for folks to refer to. So this was a way to bring those folks together, provide a network, help them develop relationships among each other, and really become a support system for one another.
So what happens at the meetings?
There's a lot of sharing that goes on. The very first thing that happens, and a real key part of the program, is that we have a potluck. We start with a potluck. And you know, I have people that say, oh, I'll come for the program afterward, I won't come for the potluck. But the potluck is really where people get to sit down, they share a meal, and the conversations about local foods and what people are doing really begin. And it gets kind of loud periodically, and I always have to bring them back in so we can start our program for the evening. And I really always hate to stop that conversation. But we also have other speakers that come in and provide further education for us, so I have to bring a halt to that and let people stop. But that potluck is really the important part. And after we are finished with the potluck, we do some introductions, because we have new people coming and going all of the time. And we talk about where they're located, because although this program that I coordinated started in Dallas County, we don't have any borders. So we have people from Warren County, we've had people from up by Fort Dodge come, Story County, you know, we have quite a mix of folks that come. So we always have to do those introductions and a time for sharing about that. And I usually try to start it with some kind of a question about something new they've discovered or something they want to share with the group. So that takes a little bit of time, and then we go into our program for the evening. And we've had programs everywhere from storage and handling of produce after you harvest it, to cover crops. We've had programs on poultry. We've had programs on from folks who produce pork for Nyman Ranch. So we've had a variety of things over the years.
So why is Growing Food for Profit important?
Well, I think it's important because it's an opportunity for people to develop networks and relationships with one another. We put together a small directory with contact information for each of the folks that belong to the group. And so what we can't get answered and discussed at that meeting once a month, and they only happen in January through April. What we can't get discussed there, people can contact the folks that they've met at the meetings to ask them further questions. Or, you know, maybe they're seeing something in their field that they haven't seen before, so they're looking for answers from folks about what's going on here, what do I need to do, or what can I do, or have you seen this? So, you know, there's that opportunity. One other thing I might mention about Growing Food and Profit is when we first began, I guess one of the things that I felt was important was that we needed to be able to support these growers, because local foods, locally grown food in your diet is really important. And I came from a family consumer science background, so I wanted people to have as much access to their locally grown foods as they possibly could. So that was important to me. The other thing, having been a longtime extension employee and worked with the folks that are growing corn, soybeans, hay, livestock, I wanted to help bridge that gap between the local food grower who's doing something very unusual out here that's different from the world of the large-scale farmer. And I wanted them to be able to understand what each other were doing and to help promote good communication. And so I can remember that my husband came home one day and he had driven by one of the new growers, local food growers in Dallas County, driven by their farm and wondered what on earth they were doing there. Because, you know, he's out there and I don't know what he's doing, and I'm not sure what's going on, but there's something going on up there. So it was important also that I try to bring in some of these regular farmers, for lack of a better word, to begin to have some communication with the local food growers, because they do need to work together. It is a community, and they need to kind of understand where everybody's coming from. And it's kind of funny because that individual that my husband drove by their farm turned out to be one of the folks that came to me and wanted to start this Growing Food and Profit group, and has become very good friends with my husband, and we've tried to help them as much, and they've also tried to help us from time to time. So those are two other things, I guess, that I really wanted to start when I did the group.